Hi everyone, and welcome to our 12th webinar. My name is Tamara, and I will be your host tonight. Welcome on behalf of myself and InterVenture. We are a Swiss company that builds tailor-made distributed teams for our partners. There are 240 of us, and we are based in Belgrade. Tonight, I have a pleasure to welcome two of my colleagues. Snezana Spasojevic is working as a SEO specialist for one of our partners, and Bojan is working as a performance marketing specialist. They both have a lot of experience in digital marketing, so you're at the right place if you came here to learn something interesting and useful. For questions, you can use a Q&A option at the bottom of your screen, or just type your question in the chat box. My guests will answer them at the end of this webinar. And the recording of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel tomorrow. I will post the link to our YouTube channel in the chat box. And that's it. Snezana and Bojan, welcome.
Thank you, Tamara.
Would you like to start with your presentation?
Yes, before starting the presentation, I would like to just briefly introduce myself. My name is Snezana Spasojevic. I work as Senior SEO Specialist for InterVenture, and most specifically for their Swiss-based partner Tamedia and a lot of companies that are inside the Tamedia company. I have about 10 years experience in organic growth and SEO. I've been working in a lot of industries such as e-commerce, real estate, classifieds, news, etc. And I really enjoy working on multiple language platforms and international markets, and specifically non-English speaking markets. Hence, I'm here in the Swiss-based company. And tonight I would like to give you an overall of the SEO state of mind for 2020 or the future. Just briefly introduce you to the organic part of the digital marketing, and give you some takeaways that would hopefully help you get into the SEO and work on your own project. And afterwards, Bojan will explain you all about the paid, and he will also introduce himself. And after that, we will, of course, have a panel discussion with you if there's any questions. So I think we can get started. I will just share my screen. Okay. As a quote of the year 2020, I hope that everybody can see my screen and that everybody can hear me. So today we're talking about something that we called Hey Google, do you see me? The first part is something that I will talk about, the SEO or the organic traffic and organic growth, the side of this project that we are doing. As Google would say, what is SEO and what are the suggestions for the search engine optimization? So this is a quote from Google saying you should build a website to benefit your users, and any optimization should be geared toward making the user experience better. Search engine optimization is about helping search engines understand and present your content. So what do we actually do, and how do we understand this quote? Well, actually, if you would talk about SEO a few years ago, you would not really mention user experience as the first thing. You would mention a lot of things, but not the user experience as the first thing that come up to your mind. And you would definitely not present it as something that is also, you would definitely present it as something that is friendly for the search engine, but not combining those two things. So that has changed. But it means actually that we are just targeting the #1 position in the search engine result, and we're good to go. So is it the right thing? Do we just mean by SEO, go on the first place, rank your site on the first place of search engine results, and you'll have it all done, and that's the whole thing that you're doing? Well, let's see a real life example, and let's see how it goes actually. Say you want to do the search for running shoes. So this is how the search result looks like if you're looking for running shoes or searching the running shoes keyword on Google search. So the first thing that you will notice here is this a little note here saying ad. So that is something that my colleague will talk about in the second part of this webinar. But I just wanted to give you an overall view of how this looks like. So you're looking for, or your customer is looking for running shoes. Maybe you have a website that is selling this item or the running shoes, and you want to rank #1, but then you go to the search result page and you see an ad. Then you see something like this that is called people also ask. That is actually most common questions related to your search. Then you see something like this. That is an image carousel, and the images are actually sorted into categories or groups. That is also something we didn't have a few years ago. So we have running shoes categorized by cushion running, Nike running, Floatrite Energy, etc., etc. So we also have one other element on the search engine result page. Then you have top stories. Great, I'm very interested in this. Looking for running shoes, I might go and read something about them. What do you think? So I might read some of the news related to them or not, but okay, Google, that is what I'll take. And of course, I have a location. Where can I buy those running shoes? Where are they available? What are the opening hours of these stores, and how I can get there? So what do we have? Who, what, when, where, how? Everything that the search result page answers about is actually what we were told to answer in our essays in school, right? So we have seen ads, we have seen locations, we have seen online stores, we have seen people also ask part, categorization also brands, we have seen news or top stories and images and categorized images. So how does search engine result actually look like? So it looks like something like this. So you will see this green field here. This is actually the first organic result on this search engine result page. So if I'm trying to rank my website for this term, running shoes, how can my customer find me actually? So my possible customer is going to have to scroll down and click on my website in order to find me. But will he or she be able to find me in all of this? Meaning being #1, does that really still matter? Well, it actually depends on what you mean by meaning or what you mean by matter. Why does this matter? It does, and I will explain why. So today, as I said, we're talking about the organic traffic and the SEO. So we have two parts of SEO, which is on page and off page. I will be focusing on page, something that can get you to that #1, but also something that can get you into those elements that are most frequently ranking above #1 position. As far as the off-page SEO is concerned, those are some link building techniques, and it would be interesting to have a webinar on that topic. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know. And I think that we can organize something like that. I'm sure that we can, but for the purposes of being very precise, concrete, and short, we will not be addressing these matters today in our webinar, because there's so much things to talk about as far as the on-page SEO is concerned too. So the on-page SEO, as you can see from this diagram, which is pretty old, I would say, but it covers the basics. It incorporates content marketing, keyword optimization, optimization of images, videos, and something they called here page speed, which has expanded significantly in the past few years, and we will talk about that too. But firstly, let's see what does a standard SEO procedure means. So in this diagram that was created by the Rand Fishkin of Moz, and you can find the source from the link below, you can see all of these elements that go into a well-optimized page. We have some technical elements, we have some content elements, everything that has been categorized into smaller groups to help you actually understand the focus and the task that you need to do in order to optimize well the page. And I have actually sorted them out into a few groups, which is crawlability, EAT expertise, authority and trustworthiness, user friendliness, and multi-device friendliness. So these are the groups that I focus on the first time I see a website, and also on my day-to-day tasks. And some of the things that I really tend to pay attention to while assessing SEO efforts for a certain website. There are a lot of things here, and I'm hoping to cover most of them in a very basic level, but of course all of these things can be pretty much expanded into very detailed explanations. But, let's go ahead. Yeah, I should have warned you if anybody is afraid of insects. Sorry, but this was meant to be funny. I actually love spiders very much. And Crawl Baby Crawl is actually what Google is doing. It is crawling the websites, crawling the search engine, crawling the internet in order to find your website, then goes to your website, crawls it in order to understand what it's about and how it should index and rank it. In the topic of crawlability, which is the first topic, I would like to talk in a little bit more details today. Google is giving us a lot of information, a lot of guidelines. One of the guidelines, these guidelines are actually here on left side of this slide, and you can see that most of these guidelines are actually about how to optimize and manage your sitemaps, and how to actually tell Google what to crawl, what not to crawl, and to set a pattern of behavior in order to help Googlebot crawl your website, understand what your website is about, and how to index it, and for which keywords, terms, and queries Googlebot should rank your website. So some of the topics here are manage your sitemaps, block access to your content. I hope you all can see this. Remove information from Google, how to do that. Tell Google about your duplicate content, ask Google to recrawl your URLs, make sure Googlebot is not blocked, create custom 404 pages, transfer, move, or migrate your website, how to do it the correct way. Special tags that Google understands, Google crawlers, crawl stats reports, and change Googlebot crawl rate. So these are some of the things that you should keep in mind and monitor if you really want to have a Googlebot friendly website and handle the crawlability of your website. But what does this actually mean? So some of the recommendations here are quite direct, very precise, some not so much. people that are actually working as SEOs, they know what it means to be not so much direct coming from Google. So some of the recommendations are: keep a simple URL structure, make sure to pay attention to filters and parameters, how you set them, what you do with them. Consider blocking dynamic URLs. Then make sure your links are crawlable. So there is just one thing that Google can follow and can understand, and all the other things, as you can see with the thumbs down, Googlebot does not understand it as a link. Regularly check your robots txt file. Make sure, first of all, that Googlebot is not blocked if you want to rank for any term in Google search, of course. Test your site in as many browsers as possible, because you never know when, where your user is coming from, actually, from which browser. Tell Google what type of outbound links you have. So this is something that was introduced recently, and recently, I mean, in the last couple of years. The no follow tag is okay, but no longer like 100% recommendable. You should actually precise what type of outbound links you're using. So if you have any sponsored content, you should mark it with tags. So we have sponsored, we have user-generated content, we have non-follow, and we also have multiple variants of these possible solutions. Sitemaps, as said, set priority for Google and provide additional information, like update frequency, for example. It really depends on the website, type of website, in industry you're in. Sitemaps are actually very important for crawling non-textual content, like images and videos. But again, images and videos are also a specific type of optimization efforts, because there is now Google Images that is quite well developed. So sitemaps may help you there, but it doesn't, the effort to optimize images and videos doesn't stop there. That's what I'm trying to say. Sitemaps also help Google discover pages that might not be discoverable through links. And it can also help, they can also help set priority for Googlebot. So which pages to crawl first, and how frequent, and how to actually discover the pages. Like I said, they are not discoverable through links that you didn't link through the website, and you want them to be crawled and indexed by Google. And of course, monitor always your site's crawl stats and errors. Look at the stats. This is like actually a real life example from one of the projects. You can see that what are the total crawl requests, total download size, and average response time. So this is something that you usually get from the crawl stats report in Google Search Console, and something that you should monitor to see if there are any aberrations, any differences, big differences between different time frames, and just keep an eye on that. And of course, if you are building a new website, you want to make sure you have some information there. Otherwise, you know, Google, it means that Google is not visiting your website. But also analyze your log file. So log file analysis, again, I'm talking to people who are in the SEO field. It's a completely separate story, but I just wanted to mention them here and not go, unfortunately, I won't be able to go into a deeper analysis, but the log files are actually quite useful. And some of the tools that can help you do that in a very quick manner are Screaming Frog Log File Analyzer, OnCrawl, Write, Deep Crawl, modify, and I think that SEMrush and Ahrefs do have a log file analyzer now. I know that SEMrush does, but those are the ones that I've listed here are the ones that I've been using. So I know that for sure they're good. So if you need any recommendations, here they are. And why is the log file analysis important? Well, this is a real life example from one of my projects. It was a big e-commerce website, and they had implemented the 410 response code, which means gone, on the pages with expired listings products. As we all know, the expected 410 behavior is actually Googlebot crawls once and never comes back. So that is what we were said. But actually, when we did the log file analysis, we saw that Googlebot was crawling up to 120 times per month the same pages that were marked by 410 response code. So not only that Googlebot didn't just crawl them once and never came back, it was continuing to crawl them 120 times per month, so 4 times per day. The conclusion was that the significant number of these pages retain Googlebot's attention, to say it in a poetic way, and maintain an impact on sites' indexability long time after those pages were gone, let's say. So not leveraging this was a waste, especially with the size of the assortment and fluctuation rate on the site in question. So we had a lot of products implemented and put on the website daily. A lot of the products expired or gone, the listings gone. So we needed to have a solution for this. So because I'm not going to talk about log file analysis, I just wanted just to mention that topic a little bit. In the end, we had a solution. We wanted to see this because we were working on a new structure for this website and trying to find a solution to restructurize this. And actually, this information was very, very useful for us, because in this way, we were able to communicate the type of solution to have for these expired listing pages, like 404s, custom 404 pages, how to handle robots txt file, for example, and to monitor the crawlability. So this is why the log file analysis was here, very useful here in this example. The next thing is, after the crawlability, I have mentioned EAT and all things content. The content in SEO is a very, very big topic, and a topic that we can talk about for days. And we're not going to do that here. I just wanted to go through some points that have changed since the first time the SEO was introduced, let's say, and just to tell you, if you're planning on doing something in this field, what you should think about, actually. So we are going from keyword research to topic research. What this actually means is that you can use tools like SEMrush topic research tool in order to find, in order to do the topic research, in order to find in the same semantic fields keywords and topics that are connected to the one that you're writing about and that you want to write about, and to use them for your content strategy and content optimization. This also means that you should be focusing, and you can use, for this you can use the tool like Answer the Public. You should be actually focusing on expanding this content, on thinking like writing an essay, on being very natural in the way you approach to the content, but also replying to the most important questions, which is what, how, where, when, who, etc. I'm not going to continue talking about the content. I don't have a lot of time actually, but content is going to be mentioned during this talk a lot. So the structured data, coming back to that print screen that I've shown you of the search engine result page, with the structured data, you can help your site display in richer features in search results. You can find all the information in Google, and the structured data available is here as listed. There are not structured data for all kinds of niches and all kinds of products and all kinds of things that you do and have a site for. But actually, you can be a little bit creative, and through schema, you can actually combine elements in order to gain some of the more, in order to provide more information for Googlebot. But actually, how does this look like for people who've never seen it, who've never paid attention to it? I'm sure you've all seen. So this is structured data for actually a product. So you can see that there is a product information in Google image search, and there is also product information in Google search results. There are also here, you see the rating and stars. This is a review, and also the price. So when your page is eligible for rich results, you get something like this in a rich result test page in Google. This is the link to it. And you actually get the product displayed like this. So this means that you are eligible. It doesn't mean that it will appear like we've seen in the previous slide. And finally, something that actually incorporates site being user-friendly and multiple device-friendly and search engine-friendly and everything-friendly is something that Google has announced to be live in May 2021. So they said in this tweet, as you can read, we're announcing that page experience ranking signals for Google search will launch in May 2021. This will combine core web vitals and previous UX related signals. So actually SEOs are triggered by the things like ranking signals. So we never get to know what are actually the ranking signals for Google. And this was actually them saying, you should work on those core web vitals and you should make your website UX or user-friendly as best as possible. So what are the core web vitals? There are a lot of things on that on the internet about this, and I'm not really going to waste a lot of your time talking about it. I just want to say how important it is. So there are 3 of them: LCP, FID, and CLS, and they're pretty much focused on the way your website is displayed on the first second, how it actually looks like for the user, and how ergonomic and friendly it is for user to use. There are tools in which you can use in order to measure and monitor your core web vitals. They are also, so it's available in Search Console. You can go on to PageSpeed Insights and see it. You can use Chrome User Experience Report and see all the core web vitals and how your metrics are there for your website. But here is a real life example. Again, this is a Search Console, one of the projects, and you see that we need a lot of improvements for some stuff, and some stuff are poor, but hey, we're working on it, okay? And some of the things that I have not seen, I have to say, about 2 months ago are now appearing. So I think that Google is really working on this update that they're going to release in May 2021. So I expect that we will have more and more information about all of these signals, all of these metrics in the Core Web Vitals, and that we will have more and more details about it. So this is how it looks like, and how you can know what to do with it and how to measure it. So this is, you can use Google Lighthouse report, and then in the performance section, you have all of the metrics enlisted, and also the explanations of these metrics. So why are these explanations important? Well, it's important because, you know, SEOs cannot really do everything they need all of the other teams to work with them in order to make great websites, as Google is demanding us to do. And the resources I've shared here are actually official Google resources. There are tons and tons of resources online. If you're interested, you can write to me. I'm happy to share whatever I have with you. But I don't know if you are acquainted with these resources. Google is actually heavily working on making them available for SEOs and marketers to talk about. So they have a Google search website. It was previously Google Webmasters, now it's Google Search. And they have a YouTube channel where they have a lot of videos that are interesting and very useful for SEOs. Their Twitter account, and also their podcast, where they talk about the new implementations, changes, and also something that people are interested in, of course. But what can you do actually to begin with? You should always remember that spider that I've shown you, and you should always remember that first of all, you have to make your site crawlable and indexable. You should create and optimize sitemaps in order to tell Google how to prioritize and what to crawl and how to understand your website. You should use very, very natural language, extended semantic fields, and provide unique content value. You should, and you can grab rich results by using structured data, and you should always, from now on until I don't know when Google says, you should check your Core Web Vitals. And this is just something that I wanted to show you because of those print screens of the metrics and performances. I just wanted to tell you that the SEO work is not just work of an SEO. It's also, most frequently, we work with developers, and most frequently, we're just stopping things from getting worse before we actually can have an opportunity to make them better. As a conclusion, I would say that in the organic traffic, we always say that it takes time, combines different teams, as I've already mentioned. It can cause structural changes, very big changes if necessary, and it's actually a long run. So you cannot actually expect the organic traffic to be very effective in a very short time. But something that can be very effective in a very short time is actually paid traffic, and something that my colleague will talk about. I hope he'll have time to talk about it. And I will just now thank you all, guys, and stop sharing. And I hope that we will have an opportunity to discuss this in this webinar or a next one. So Bojan, it's your turn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Snezana. Hopefully you can hear me. Everything is working fine. I'm working late. Oh, I have some sort of reverb. Not sure what is going on. So Tamara, you just muted. I think it's not too good. Maybe I just try to rejoin quickly. Would that work?
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, me
good.
too.
Perfect. So Just a short introduction on my side. My name is Bojan Mijic. I'm working as currently for InterVenture / Media as performance marketing specialist with about 8 years of experience in digital paid marketing channels in basically across all variants of digital paid channels, mostly focusing on e-commerce, on real estate, on furniture and cars. Right about now, I'm working with one of the largest Swiss brands like Car4You, which is a online car sales platform, Tutti, which is the classified platform, Ricardo, which is the biggest auction online platform, and HomeGate, which is, let's say, for real estate. The idea of my side of the story is to introduce you to the let's shortly call it PPC, or the paid digital marketing activities. And let me show you what I prepared for you. Okay, hopefully this should work fine. So you can see the blue screen of the introduction to paid marketing.
Yes.
Cool. I'm going to talk about paid ads, and this will cover multiple platforms like Google Search, Google Display, YouTube ads, social ads in all varieties. And let's jump into it because we don't have much time. So first things first, what is pay-per-click? The model was introduced basically ever since the internet, digital marketing went live in the early 90s, and it stands for any sort of activity where you pay for click. Now it says pay per click, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a pay for a click. It can be pay for for thousands of shows. It can be pay per conversion. But we always refer it to as simplified as to PPC or pay per click. It's across multitude of channels. So if you pay, let's say, for a search ad, that is a typical PPC example, even though in the back end you might be optimizing for a completely different metric. It can be on display, it can be on YouTube. So I just wanted to, but in majority of cases, we're most likely talking about Google search ad. I'll be briefly explaining the working principles, then giving you some working screenshots of how it actually looks on those different platforms, and then after all, going through the essential tools we use. What is the main difference between SEO and PPC? The simplified version would be that SEO is for the long run, and PPC is actually something you can start straight off the bat. PPC is very quick to be set up. It's highly measurable, and you can quantify everything you do. It generally requires less people to be started. So let's say if you're a small company, you most likely be able to pull everything off with a single person doing your paid activities. As if you're a big company, however, you might need a team. So it's not necessarily a single person's job. The cons are it's more expensive, and everything you do might be subject to ad blindness. Everyone is, I think, aware of the ads nowadays and might even be irritated. So if you see something and you're irritated by the ad, and long term you just keep ignoring those ads, we call it the ad blindness. It's a major problem for anyone doing PPC advertising nowadays, and especially that you have ad blockers. But if you adhere to the recommended norms by international companies prescribing how the ad should look like, then you shouldn't really be troubled too much by either ad blindness or that it's too expensive, or by the ad blockers. What I mean by it's more expensive is that in certain cases, just to give you an example, an idea how expensive this can be. Let's say you are based in USA or France, and you are, I don't know, doing plumber services. A typical, in a major city, like, I don't know, Paris or New York, you want to provide your plumbing services, a typical click per single click, it may go up to $70 or $100 or euros. So a single click, if you want to provide like premium services, it doesn't have to be plumber, it can be, I don't know, plane tickets or anything. A single click will cost you $100 per click. So you do a quick calculation how this, if how much traffic you would need daily, how many people will click on your ads, and this would in the end mean how much budget you need to have. But it actually, it's not in most cases. We optimize for this, and the pay per click is something more in a normal realm, something around, I don't know, 1 or 2 or even under $1 in most cases, depending on your goal, depending on the industry, and etc. So PPC is for the short run, and that means what kind of benefits do you stand to gain from doing PPC in the first place? You can measure all your results, and I mean literally all your results, as opposed to, I don't know, branding versus performance campaigns. Branding would be, I don't know, running ads on TV or radio or out of home. So you can't really measure everything that's digital. You can highly measure it. You only pay for the click. You get on the first spot of the Google search results instantly. You can target your traffic to any. This explains it in a little bit more detail. So let's say you are a new brand. You just started a watch company or something, and you want to start your ads straight away. You want to generate sales. The traffic is instant, so you can select your market, select your target audience, your demographics, age, and basically be generating traffic straight away. Whereas with SEO, it's not really that fast, and you definitely need a couple of months. So that's actually the major benefit of, and actually the main difference between SEO and PPC. It's easy to target specific audience. You actually have quite a lot of options to target, either, I don't know, gender-based, demographics-based, age-based, income-based. You think of it. So any number of factors you can target people based on those. You only pay for performance, meaning let's say you want to generate clicks, or you want to generate a completely different concept. You want to generate sales, or just on the branding side. So you only actually pay for performance. Let's say you want to show to as many people as possible. You would be doing the CPM-based bidding model, meaning I just want my ad to be shown to as many people as possible, as opposed to I want to optimize for conversions or sales, and that's a completely different bidding mechanism behind it. But you do actually measure everything, and you only pay for the actual KPI you're optimizing on. How would it look? So this is the working principle. Let's say for the search ads, you would go for, let's say you're selling, I don't know, running shoes, typical example of that Snezana mentioned. You would first research what kind of keywords are people usually looking for. So it would come down to a list of, it really comes down to the industry, about 10, 50, 100, or even thousands of keywords, depending on the industry. Then you would go about create your ad, develop the landing page. By landing page, I mean either of the static pages of your website, or you would go and use a dedicated tool for creating a completely new landing page. Then some basics, and technicalities. You would set up your account. You would pixel tracking, installation, and testing. So this is something you absolutely need to have. Either platform you're on, let's say it's Google or Facebook or, I don't know, Instagram or Pinterest, they all have their own pixel, and you need to basically install it on your website or your app or any I don't know, any of the let's say product you're using, and you need to test it for proper working. Otherwise, none of the results you're optimizing would make sense. Then you launch your campaign, you monitor it all the time, and you repeat, wash and repeat the whole cycle. That is how it's the working principles of setting up a campaign. This is the pipeline you would go through. You would have to determine clear goals. Let's say I want in the first phase I want to reach as many people as possible. Then you go define a budget, target audience. And you just go through the whole cycle of measuring the performance. If you see that for some reason it's not working, you're not generating any sales, then you would go and through each individual previous steps and tweak each of the steps and see what you're doing wrong to actually get you to where you want to be. And this is sales, or let's say branding. This is very important to mention. This is how your sales funnel, or if anyone is trying to sell a product or a service, this is something you need to be, and most likely you're already aware of, but just wanted to go through it for the people that are not potentially aware of it that much. So you have a couple of, and this is the sales or the funnel process, and these are the channels that are most suitable for each of the stages. Let's say I never heard of Nike, and Nike just way back in, I don't know, 20 years ago. I might be wrong on the 20 years, don't take my word for it, but the point is that Nike is just starting. I've never heard of them. They first need to generate awareness and interest. So I first need to know what they are all about. And then I need to be interested. I need to be browsing their web pages, or I don't know, visiting their shops, like physical shops, and I would be considering their product. I would be like really interested. Then I would be comparing. I'm actually now going to the bottom of the funnel. I would be comparing Nike to the brand I already know, and then ultimately this would finish in a sale. The best channels for to generate the top of the funnel would be video and display ads. Search ads would be good for everything. Shopping and remarketing would be actually good for the bottom, the last stage of the journey. So that would be the working principles. And why do we do this whole thing? It's the Google search, or it could be Bing, right? It could be any of the search engines. The important thing is that if you're not on the first page, or actually by now already the majority of people already, or even on subconscious level, know about how this works. So if you're not on the first page, or I don't know, you're position 11 or I don't know 20, you are most likely not going to be seen. Or to put it in other words, if you're selling shoes and you're on second page, it doesn't mean independent of if you're looking at the paid or the organic results, the difference in how many people are going to be visiting your page is astonishing. So 50 or 60% of people are going to be clicking on first couple of links, and then it goes to 12, and then it goes to 5, and it goes on the second page, it goes to under 1%. So it makes it's a real game changer. So the main difference is that if you want to start something really quickly, then PPC is the way to go, as opposed to long-term SEO will get you there. To give you a couple of examples, how I mean, by now, obviously, all of you have experienced how a typical search ad looks like. I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail. This changes over time, so it's either it used to be highlighted in different colors, right? It used to be Google tries to hide it, but the point is that at least 50% of people would not differentiate if it's a paid ad or if it's an organic result, and that is something that is good for anyone doing digital marketing, because if people find this to be a paid ad, then they are likely to trust it less. So I don't know, these people pay to be on the first position. Why should I trust them, as opposed to these people have been there for ages and then they just didn't come overnight on the first page. Second example would be, so I just wanted to, I mean, everyone has seen those. I just wanted to briefly go through how it actually looks like and what the channels and the options are. Display ad is something that is available to any of the web pages. So let's say you're browsing your favorite newspapers online, or even in a mobile app, you would see a plethora of display ads. And this can be coming from Google, from programmatic networks, from Bing display ads. The point is that you would provide screenshots, couple of descriptions, and then the Google will try to make like hundreds of versions of those ads, and obviously try to optimize for the results you give it to. Coming to my favorite type of ad, these are the Google dynamic display ads. They can be shown throughout basically any of the channels. So they can be found on your search ad, on display network. Let's say you're browsing your favorite newspaper, your favorite blog, you'll be shown there, on YouTube and on Gmail. The main point of dynamic display ads is that you have to be selling multitude of products. So let's say if you're selling just, I don't know, one or two or few products, basically under 10, then this is not something for you. But if you're, it doesn't matter which size of the company you are, you can be actually, if it's 50 and above, it's really good for you. The point is that all these different ads are generated dynamically. So you submit a feed of all your products, and these will be either randomly selected, or if you do retargeting, you will only see the ads of the ones you have already seen. So for instance, if I've been searching for some trousers, and in a typical retargeting campaign, I will be shown the exact trousers I've already seen. Moving forward, Google Shopping ads. These currently are not available in Serbia, only in like major countries. Social YouTube video ads there are different types, but the major ones are actually in stream. So we're talking about video ads. They can be found on the side in the sponsored results on the right hand side, but really the major ones are the in-stream videos, so pre-roll, mid-roll, or post-roll. And social media ads, since we have so many platforms like Facebook and Instagram as single platform, then you have Pinterest, then you have Snapchat. I just wanted to highlight the most important ones, which are story ads. You can see on the left-hand side, carousel ads, and also carousel ads. So this is the one on Facebook, and these are the ones they can find on YouTube. Just the working principle, so you can basically find any type of ad you can think of. Lastly, I just wanted to touch upon the typical examples of tools we use. So if you the bread and butter of every digital marketer would be Google Ads Editor and Bing Ads Editor, Google Trends, Google Correlate, to some degree SEMrush for keyword analysis, Moz, and obviously Google Analytics. So depending on what kind of stage you are on, if you're just setting up search campaigns, or you are, I don't know, reporting and doing, I don't know, competitive intelligence for search or traffic, you would actually go for different tools found here. So by showing this, I thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, let's start to shoot.
Well done, thank you, Bojan, and thank you, Snezana. We have two questions. How about B2B scenarios? A lot of examples seem to be focused on B2C.
For which one is this? Is this for paid?
For paid, yes, that was for you.
So, well, what's the question again? If exactly, so it's
there are a lot of. I will just write. How about B2B scenarios? A lot of examples seem to be focused on B2C. Do you maybe have some examples for business?
In this particular presentation, no, but it comes down to the creative approach. You would choose your creatives differently, and you wouldn't have necessarily like dynamic ads. I would have to actually come back to you with those exact examples.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have another question. Any tips on building links? Do you have a favorite SEO tactics?
Link building is actually something that I've mentioned would not be a focus of today's webinar because it's a separate branch of the SEO as an off page. But of course, thanks for the question. Yeah, link building, as long as it's not the PBS, I'm happy with it. Sorry, no, I was just my favorite one was just the going through the repurposing the content and actually just finding what the competitors are doing and just trying to find the place for me to, let's say, insert links where the competitors are, or just to find the similar websites, platforms as my competitors, and then to pitch them for link building. But no, I don't really have any favorite techniques. I have to say personally, I don't really like link building. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we have this question that is expanded a bit. What would be your recommendation for B2B? What channels to use? What do you think about LinkedIn? Any tips and tricks for LinkedIn ads campaigns, Bojan?
Yes, so tips for B2B are actually depending on the service. It really comes down to what kind of service or a product you're trying to sell. But LinkedIn is actually one of the best strategies to approach, one of the best channels to go with. I don't know, a typical example would be you're selling industrial measurement devices. And this does not exclude you. So typically you would want to stay away from search because not a lot of people are going to go for, I don't know, laser measurement device for industry. So typically it's a very small target area, and not a lot of users are looking for that. So you have to think of this audience size and what are their usual browsing behaviors. So LinkedIn, most likely they're going to be there, but display is one of the best channels to go with because it follows you around, and you the one thing I really like, and we also quite commonly use, is build an audience and then try to retarget those people through any display channel. So that works nicely.
Thank you, Bojan. We have one personal question for you also. Do you train beginners in PPC one-on-one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you might consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can post your email addresses if you like in our follow-up emails, so they can contact you if you like.
Sure, no problem.
Do we have any more questions? We'll wait a few minutes. If not, Snezana and Bojan, thank you very much for accepting my invitation to be guest on this webinar. As Snezana said, I would really like to welcome you again. So another time with another topics.
With pleasure.
You are welcome to come again. And thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone for participating and asking questions. This recording will be live tomorrow on our YouTube channel, so you can rewatch it if you like. See you next time.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.